What's up guys, and welcome to my Gepard 2026 updated guide. Gepard has had a few upgrades going into the 2025 updates, so I do have an updated video so you can ensure you are building him correctly. Starting it off with a overview on his kit. Gepard's basic attack will deal ice damage based off his attack to a designated enemy. His skill deals ice damage based off his attack to a designated enemy with a 65% base chance to freeze the enemy for one turn. If they are frozen, the enemy cannot take action and will receive ice additional damage based off 60% of Gepard's attack at the beginning of each turn that they are frozen. His ultimate will apply a shield to everyone on the team, absorbing damage equal to 45% of Gepard's defense plus 600 for 3 turns. His talent gives Gepard access to a revive, so anytime he is knocked down for the first time in the battle, Gepard's HP ability restores to 50% of its max HP, and again, only triggers once per battle. His technique will allow Gepard to apply a shield in the next battle to all allies, absorbing damage equal to 24% of his defense plus 150 for 2 turns. His A2 will increase his taunt value by making him have a higher chance to be attacked. His A4 will allow Gepard to restore his energy to 100% when his talent is triggered, so when you do die. And his A6 will increase Gepard's attack by 35% of his current defense, and the effect will refresh at the start of each turn. His eidolons, his E1 will increase the base chance of the freeze from his skill by 35%. His E2, after an enemy frozen by his skill is unfrozen, they will have 20% reduced speed for one turn. His E4 increases allies' effect raise by 20% when he is in the battle. And his E6, when his talent is triggered, Gepard immediately will take action and restore an extra HP equal to 50% of his max HP. For his best Lightcone options, overall the best one nowadays is the Journey Forever Peaceful Battle Pass Lightcone, which increases the wearer's provided shield effect by 12%, and while any ally target has a shield, the wearer's damage dealt increases by 12%. And at S5, it becomes 24% increase the shield effect with a 20% increase the damage dealt. Outside of shield and the occasional freeze from his skill, Gepard does not provide any form of offensive buffs or defensive buffs really. This Lightcone does help you provide a little bit. First off, amplifying his actual role as a sustain by increasing his shield effect by 24%, which is going to make his shield a lot stronger than it normally is. On top of that, now it does give him access to providing some form of buffing, because now anytime one of your teammates have a shield, their damage dealt is going to increase by 20%. Especially nowadays, with sustains either doing a lot of damage or at least providing some form of debuffing slash buffing, Gepard falls behind in that aspect when it comes to his base kit, and this Lightcone helps him catch up a little bit. It's not significant as opposed to the other ones, but it still is something, which is why overall the best Lightcone you can use is this one right here. His own Lightcone Moment of Victory is still also very powerful on him, increasing the wearer's defense by 24% and also 24% increase to effect hit rate. It also increases the chance for the wearer to be attacked, and if the wearer is attacked, they get an additional 24% increase to their defense until the end of the wearer's turn. As a shield does scale off defense, this is providing you up to a 48% increase to defense, which is going to be a nice increase to his shield as well. On top of that, it does increase his value to be hit, so he can draw away aggro from your team and take the hits, which can also allow him to recover more energy to refresh his ultimate for the shield even more. And the effect hit rate isn't useless, because on Gepard, you will need some effect hit rate to guarantee his freeze debuff, so the extra effect hit rate it is providing is nice, which is why this is also another good option to still use to this day. I'm only mentioning this because it is just usable, and that's Aventurian's signature Lightcone providing 40% defense, and that's really just it. It's a 5-star, so the actual base defense provides is also pretty nice as well. But again, the higher base defense being a 5-star, and then also the 40% defense, that's really it. You are able to get the crit damage because he does provide shield, but Gepard is not doing any meaningful damage. And he doesn't have a follow-up attack, so you ignore that for the last part. It's really just for the sole purpose of having the higher defense, of being a 5-star, and also the 40% defense provided, which is almost as good as the standard banner. Gepard Lightcone, when you do have its full effect up, is worse by 8%. But again, because of that, it is a usable option. Day 1 of my new life is also pretty good, with increasing the wearer's defense by 16%. After entering battle, increases all type res of all allies by 8%, and abilities of the same type cannot stack. And at S5, it's a 24% increase to the wearer's defense, with a 12% increase to the all type res. Very simple Lightcone, just providing you some form of defense increase to increase the value of his shield, while also allowing you to reduce damage that your team can receive by increasing their all type res. So if you don't have any of the other options I mentioned, this one is also usable. And the last Lightcone you really would bother with is Lando's Choice, which will make the wearer more likely to be attacked and reduce damage taken by 16%, and an S5 is 24%. Unfortunately, it doesn't increase his shield effect value, nor does it really increase his defense. It just makes him more likely to be attacked, which, similar to the standard one that I mentioned, draws away aggro, and will also reduce the damage he's receiving, so it can make him more tanky. So again, if you don't have any of the other options, this one does work in the meantime. This last option is only if you're running him with the Acheron team, and that is the Trend Lightcone. Increases defense by 16% when the wearer is attacked. There's a 100% base chance to burn the enemy for each turn. The wearer deals dot that is equal to 40% of the wearer's defense for 2 turns. At S5, it is 32% defense with a 120% base chance, and the dot becomes 80% of the wearer's defense. So the defense, once again, is going to increase his shield value as it does scale off his defense, so that's nice. The reason this is only for Acheron is because of the way it works. Applying the burn will count as a debuff, so when someone attacks Gepard or they do an AoE attack where it hits everyone, including him, that's going to give Acheron a stat. It's been a thing since she did release. It's been a powerful thing back then. It's still usable now, but this is really only a Lightcone you would use as long as you are running him alongside Acheron. Otherwise, you really would not do this. While the defense increase is nice, the other options I mentioned overall can provide more value, and Gepard especially uses this really well when it comes to the Acheron team because he also has a base increase of aggro in his kit, so he can utilize it better, and the dot does scale off defense, so it can add up to some damage. Back then, it was good, but not really anymore. But again, for Acheron specifically, you can run this Lightcone. For relic sets, the only one you really want to use nowadays is the Self-Enshrouded Recluse. 2-piece increases shield effect by 10%, 4-piece increases shield provided by the wearer by 12%, and if an ally has a shield provided by the wearer, allies' crit damage will increase by 15%. 2-piece will just increase his shield strength overall, as it is increasing the effect of it, so you will have a tankier shield. 4-piece, the same thing, it gives you up to a 22% increase to shield effect, which is going to be really good. And just like I mentioned with the Battle Pass Lightcone, this relic set will also provide some form of buffing, being 15% crit damage. So Gepard does gain a bit of value in that sense because now he's able to provide some form of buffing. So not only is this his best in slot for his sustain capabilities by providing him a big 22% increase to his shield effect to make it tankier, he's also now able to buff your team's crit damage by 15%, which overall does make this his best in slot, far and none. You can still run 4-piece Knight set on him. 2-piece increases defense by 15%. 4-piece increases the max damage that is absorbed by the shield created by the wearer by 20%. 2-piece will increase his shield overall as it does scale off defense, and 4-piece will just increase the damage it can receive as it does have mentioned, so it makes the shield also more tanky. Unfortunately, it doesn't provide any supportive capabilities, but it is usable just to make his shield stronger. Past that, it would be 2-piece. Ideally, you don't do 2-piece nowadays. You mainly just do Self-Enshrouded Recluse to make Gepard sustain good enough to today's standards. Even though he might fall behind in a sense, the Self-Enshrouded Recluse set definitely does help his shield effect, especially when enemies nowadays hit really hard. But if you were to run a 2-piece set, it would mainly be 2-piece Self-Enshrouded Recluse for the shield effect increase, and combine that with what depends on your needs. If you want more of a shield effect, you can run Knight 2-piece just because it increases defense to make it stronger. But if you don't need that and you want to run speed to increase your speed thresholds, or at least hit breakpoint with help, you can run one of the speed sets, so Warrior Goddess, Relieved Ordeal, or Hackerspace 2-pieces. For ornaments, you mainly just give him a supportive set nowadays. Lushaka is the most common one, providing 5% energy regen rate, which is going to be really good to help you get your ultimate back quicker, and 12% attack for the character positioned first in the team lineup. So as long as they scale off attack, they will get a benefit from this. But at the same time, if you are running him alongside a ice DPS, you can also use Penacony, which also provides 5% energy regen rate and increases damage by 10% for all other allies that are the same type as the wearer, so in this case ice. So be sure you are pairing him with a ice DPS to make use of this set. You can also use Broken Keel, providing 10% effect res, and reaching 30% or higher will give everyone 10% crit damage. And you can also use Ageless, providing max HP, which isn't completely worthless. Unfortunately, it's not defense to help with the shield, but if your shield gets broken, it gives them a bit more HP to survive, and reaching 120 speed or higher will give everyone 8% attack. For supportive sets, Ageless and Broken Keel are more outdated nowadays, so I don't recommend them over Penacony if an ice DPS, or Lushaka for really anything else. Specifically for his shield, you can run Bellowbog as well, increasing defense by 15%, and reaching 50% effect hit rate or higher will give the wearer an additional 15% defense, providing a total of 30% defense if you do get the requirement. 50% effect hit rate can be difficult because his trace tree doesn't provide any, and if you're not running his Lycra from the standard banner, you are not going to be able to get any effect hit rate, so it's going to come through complete substat rolls. However, if you are able to hit it, giving you up to a 30% defense increase is going to be really nice for his shield. So if you are able to hit the requirement of 50% effect hit rate, VIA again running the standard banner Lightcone on him for the effect hit rate it provides, plus getting good enough substats, or just happen to having really good substats of effect hit rate, then the set can be usable. For the main stats on the relics, for the body, you want to run defense, for the feet, you want to run speed, for the orb, you want to run defense, and for the link rope, you want energy regen rate. For the subsets, first, your priority is going to be getting speed to breakpoint, so 134 or higher. Gepard's base speed is pretty low, so this is going to be a bit difficult, and is really the only goal you want to hit. So 134 speed, if you're able to get higher, that's going to be good, but 134 is going to be your bare goal. Past that, if you are running a ornament that has a requirement such as the broken keel set to hit effect res, or even the Bella Box set to get the effect hit rate, then that should be another priority, but after speed. So in Broken Keel's case, 30% effect res, or in Bella Box case, 50% effect hit rate. Past that, just more defense and also effect res, so you don't get CC'd at any point. More defense will increase the shield, and effect res will make it to where you don't get CC'd. Once again, for speed, hit breakpoint 135 or higher. Past that, any ornament requirements, so for Bella Box, 50% effect hit rate. So effect hit rate would be going into your substat goals, or if you're just running Keel, then 30% effect res. Past that, more defense percent and even more effect res. For team building, this is really simple. You really can use him on any team where you do need a sustain, obviously, except teams that are HP drain, of course. HP drains are always going to want to run a healer, so the Casters team, Evernight team, whatever. Any one of those teams, including Blade and such, they are going to want to have their HP hit or drain, and the only way to really help them is going to obviously heal them. Otherwise, you can really run him anywhere else. I don't really need to say it much more. Any case where you would need to run a sustain and Gepard is your only option, you can really just put him there, again, except the HP drain team. So if I review examples, I use Anaxa as an example. So the sustain for the Anaxa team, of course, Anaxa would be the main DPS. Gepard is the sustain. With Anaxa, you'd pair a -1 setup depending on what you're doing. So in my case, I'm just going to go ahead and put Sunday here for a -1. And last slot, I'm just going to go ahead and give to Ceridra. So the team could look like this. And of course, sub out for what you don't have. If you don't have Sunday, you could use Bronya. If you don't have Ceridra, you can use another support such as Chibi, Robin, so on. Since I did mention Akron for the trend Lightcone, I'll just do a team example here depending on if you're doing a E0 double nihility or if you're doing a support setup. Of course, Gepard holding the trend Lightcone with Akron, or even just Gepard on the team in general, and then the last two slots would go to your nihilities, so I'll just use Cypher and Xiaochu as the examples, as those are the two best ones overall when you're not counting Silverwolf. So just like this, the team would look something like this. Now, if you're running an E2 Akron setup, or you're just running a support with Akron, of course, you sub out one of the nihility characters for a support, so I'm just going to go ahead and sub out Xiaochu for someone like Sunday, because Sunday does work really well with Akron. So team building goes like that. Again, it's really just any team that needs a sustain, and if Gepard is your option, you would put him there. Just be sure it's not with any HP drainers such as Casters, Evernight, or Blade. And that is the full 2026 updated Gepard guide. I do hope you found this video helpful. If you did, dropping a like would be greatly appreciated. If you're new to the channel or haven't done so already, be sure to subscribe and turn on the bell icon for future videos like this, along with all other types of Star Wars content. Check the description to check out my Arctic channel, and I'll see you later. Peace out.